What's good, YouTube and Twitch? We're live streaming right now, but we're going to do a video here talking about the January 1st, 2020 limit regulations in the OCG because Konami is talking directly to the community about why they're doing this. I haven't got to read any of these explanations, so let's just jump straight into it and see what Konami is talking about. So basically, they have this list of each card and then why they've hit it. They've hit Azathoth. This card allowed one-sided gameplay. Thank you for explaining what we already know, but this is awesome that they recognize the reasoning and are telling the community why they've hit something. Gumblar allowed for large amounts of hand destruction during opponents' turns. That's pretty interesting that they're singling out that when it can take away full hands, but at least it does explain, like, hey, this is robbing the opponent of being able to play during their turn as well, so we're gonna exit there. Zodiac Trident follows the return of Zodiac Barrage and restoration of key cards for Zodiac. So they're basically saying the engine is okay. Now, remember, they do, maybe this is part of why they're explaining, Zoo was so bad over there that locals were banning it from being allowed for play. Like, they were straight up saying, no, you can't play Zoo here, even though you bought the cards, even though you have them. So they might want to explain to the community a bit about this. Beginning of the End, heavily used as a key component in Danger decks. They just got Danger more recently than us, and it seems like the Danger Dark World decks mayhaps or certain variants were heavily used over there. We don't even have it on our radar in our ban list discussions for this card until this has happened. Altergeist Meluseek. Limited as it can be considered a key card in the start of a duel. So yeah, you're able to tribute it, like offer link summoning, and you're able to go into getting multi-faker. And they've already limited multi-faker over there as well. Understandable that they'd want to go through that. Galatea, a heavily used card in the early and mid game. Terrible explanation on why you would semi it then. Like, why would you? I believe this is a 2 over there, right? Same with Heartpour, a powerful card used in several decks. These are both 2s. These are not the greatest of explanations here. Deep Sea Diva, by semi-limiting it, empowers decks like Atlanteans. Okay. Well, you also have the Deep Sea archetype coming up. You could have just said, we want to sell our future sets, and it goes with them. Baby Ceresaurs, a second wind for the once mighty dinosaur archetype. Alright, that's a weird way to put it, but I guess. Tour Guide, a card that can be used in decks like Burning Abyss and Unchained. I think their Burning Abyss are still more powerful over there. If I'm not mistaken, I forget their exact limits on that deck, but it's still really interesting that they're mentioning Unchained with Tour Guide. Nice. Mathematician, semi-limited for being a multi-purpose card. Fair. Again, they've semi-limited a ton of their Orcus stuff. Necros of Unicorn, a theme that is slowly being freed from being limited. It's a Floodgate-like card. I would have liked a better explanation than just, yeah, we can give you more of these. Yeah, sure. Have it back. Thunder Dragon Roar. A small limit for one of the currently most popular decks. Fair. That's still... Okay, these are getting more vague, I feel like, as we go on. Originally, they're giving really good reasons, especially for the bans. Like Outer Entity Azathoth. Allowed one-sided gameplay. That's a short, great explanation. Even if it's vague, it still really applies to it. And this allows for hand destruction during opponent's turns. Like, you give us a better specific here. And I feel like we're getting more vague, less, like, justified. It's kind of weird as we go on here. Alright, we got Salmon Great Circle. The semi-limited for being early game support. Yeah, I guess it helps get specifics earlier. Aren't we limited to 1 on this, or am I mistaken? I forget. Multi-roll. This effect allows Sky Striker cards twice. Yeah, they've been asking for multi-roll, you know, to almost be banned in some senses. Allure of Darkness, heavily used in Thunder Dragon and Danger. So Dangers over there are very, very popular, and I suppose Allure goes insert in one of their decks instead of Trade-in. They limited 2 draw power cards on here that both are used with darks. I would have liked to see there be some sort of explanation between both. Red Reboot, mainly used against decks that revolve around powerful trap cards. So this got hit on their FNL list, and I feel like with Heartbeast Feather Duster combined with this, yeah, even if you have 3 Psalms, thinking about it more, Red Reboot can completely shut down a deck and just be a I win button. but it was created to go against those trap decks, and with Nibiru, you have more and more control decks that are trying to use traps. It's interesting that they went for this, and the explanation's decent. Elemental Hero Shadow Mist, adding more stability to hero decks. Yeah, I would say so. They had it, hit over there. Makaba, immediately unlimiting a key card with a powerful effect. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber allows for a breakthrough by destroying all monsters. Destroy all monsters. That's a great reference, actually. Destroy all monsters is a Godzilla movie's name, and actually a Friends Yu-Gi-Oh series here on YouTube. So this is pretty hilarious. Destroy all monsters is a direct movie reference to Godzilla. Even though it's still a very powerful card that's been unlimited here in the TCG, this is a great reference. Chain Strike provides stability for effect damage decks, so you're supporting Mystic Mind Burn in some senses. Reasoning for a new wave of Infernoid decks. Infernoid actually won one of their events, so I'm very surprised that they're directly addressing that deck. And Draco Face-Off to power up decks focused on Pendulum Summoning. So, yeah, it can get a body to board, but you have to play the Garnets for it. And they're basically saying at this point in time, it's okay. These explanations are all pretty much one sentence, though, when I'm looking through this. I would have liked more thought to be directed to each, besides one sentence thoughts. Sometimes it does cover it. Outer Entity as a thought, you need no other explanation for it. But I feel like for, like Zodiac, a deck that literally was banned at locals over there, people would like to hear a little bit more of why you feel this is okay at this point. Like Dryden, you can still go Barrage, play 4 of them. You could play like 2 Thoroughblade, a Whiptail, a Ram, and Barrage, and be able to go into combo of getting special summon, no normal summon, 2 monsters for link summonings, and a pop on the opponent, and perhaps a draw of your brick with the Thoroughblade. Beginning of the end, you explain it pretty perfectly. It's because of dangers. You can explain that in one sentence, but I think you should have had a little more for certain things. Like, come on, just own up to Deep Sea Diva. We have the Deep Sea archetype coming. You could add that sentence in. I really would have loved to hear a greater reasoning because they put Galatea to 2 and a Harport to 2. Made almost no sense to all of us. And it's still going to be used exactly as it would have been used. So I would like to hear a bit more thought into the semi-limits specifically of things like this. Like, I didn't even consider Unchained with Tour Guide. Like, I wouldn't have come to any roundabout thought of it being potential support for that, and it's struggling. My immediate thought is Burning Abyss and what it's known for, which you address. So this is interesting to see their viewpoint of, alright, Unchained's not doing enough. What do we got for them in its tour guide? What a weird way to go. Like, you don't explain Nekroz being a resource and a floodgate at all and why you think it's okay. You don't really explain certain cards as much, like, and tie them together. But still, it's something, and communication is what we want to hear from Konami. I may be over harshly critiquing when we're getting our first sorts of words back. I would just like more of it. I would like a more in-depth explanation, perhaps allowed somewhere in an article on your website, or throughout, like, this one page in a magazine explanation. I get it. I get where you're coming from to have reached this point, and at least it's something. But I don't want to be held to this point of, like, yes, we got a little bit more. It's almost Stockholm Syndrome, like, right? When we compare to other games and the in-depth explanations they give for something like, say, in Fortnite, like, we felt like this was this, or the reasons for vaulting or nerfing, when you get so many more updates in the game, and you get even a bigger explanations when there's updates all the time in those games, versus one sentence per card. Like, you definitely could have explained some of these just a little better. Barrage is at 1 in the OCG. Yeah, but for us, you know, it's a little different. Thanks for reading the card for me, says chat. Yeah, for me, it's a good start. I like this direction of Konami going back and talking to the community, and if the OCG is going to do it, I should assume that the TCG would get that right and ability to as well, and I hope that the TCG does learn from this, look at this, and say, alright, we'll give a little bit more, we'll talk a little more about these cards, and that's what I want to see moving forward. More communication from Konami, a little bit of opening up. This is still a great start, and I love the Destroy All Monsters puns. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Again, we're taking up live streams time for this, so please subscribe. Almost to 50,000. I believe we're like 25 subscribers away. So subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation, and if you're investing because of the OCG ban list, even though I would tell you not to, use my TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra and supporting the channel directly for cards you'd already be buying. Ad. Thank you guys again for hanging out on the stream and putting up with this.